All right, you're recording.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Mr. Taco, beware. It could be. Yeah. Watch those boys over there. All right. Ain't got nothing else to do today, right? Yeah. Thankful for the rain, that's right. All right, I got 11:02, we are recording. The line is open for anybody online that wants to watch. We have 5 members present. We do have quorum. I will call the Grant County Drainage Board to order June 13th. And we do note all 5 members present. First on the agenda will be approval of minutes. Have copies of those.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Mr. Cates made the motion to approve minutes as presented. Mr. Cox seconded. Any questions, comments, editorial changes?
Good to me when I read them.
Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstaining?
Aye.
Carried 4 to 1 abstention.
You too, you.
I can't even do that.
You abstain too, you just don't know.
You still got it. That's right.
That's great.
We were out on a police standoff
Yeah,
when I was,
Oh, you abstained too.
yeah, I abstained too, so it's 3 ayes, 2 abstain, and it still carries. All right. Jim, if you will walk us through the claims, please.
First one, Chronicle Tribune, $30.26 on the Aaron Newby, $6,774 in the fund. Chronicle Tribune, $30.26 on the Doyle Ferguson, $43,943 in the fund. Newhouse Excavating, $349.20 on the North Branch of Waters tile, $8,314 in the fund. Tom's Excavating, $705 on the William Lozier drain, $10,420 in the fund. Grant County Treasurer, $26,466.75. This is the loan from the General Drain Improvement Fund to maintenance. And that money will probably all bounce back in the fall, right, Mary?
Except for Hummel.
Some up in the spring, except for the one on Hummel. Bragg Excavating, $2,456 on Ashley Smith, $4,060 in the fund. Cook Excavating, $805 on the south prong of Dry Fork, $3,704.02 in the fund. Cook Excavating, $1,220 on Cart Creek tile, $17,913 in the fund. And we ended up, they've moved the power pole and we just fixed the break right there instead of having crop loss and running that whole strip. Brad Atkins, $400 on the Simons tile and $85,964 in the fund. And that's so large because we've raised that and they're trying to generate enough money to replace some of it, but it's gonna not happen this year. And this was a bad break on Mr. Atkins.
Back up to the Aaron Newby, is it in the red? It says on the paper in the red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot of emergency we've raised that and it's gonna bounce back fairly soon, but this was quite a bit of footage near the head wall was down and had to be replaced. I missed that when I read it, sorry.
Is that one that we ran it in the red knowing that the increase is gonna
And the
take
spring
care of it by the end of the
settlement
year?
next week, and then I'll get you all,
No, correct.
Correct.
Okay.
I think it's all to bounce back by fall.
a lot of it will.
You check.
Okay, we've got that first set of claims. Other questions?
Raymond, one set of those goes to that guy over
Who we pay these claims as presented?
Motion, Mr. Cox. I've got 2 seconds. Everybody's just excited to meet.
Yeah.
I'll put Pat as that second. How's that? All righty. Any other discussion? All those in favor of paying the claims as presented would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those no? No abstentions on this? We'll go to our next batch.
Newhouse excavating, $1,625. This is log jam removals on Pipe Creek. $132,741 in the fund before these bills here. Cook excavating, $2,167.50 on Big Pipe Creek. Cook excavating, $2,935.50 on Big Pipe Creek.
Got 3, and these
Make a
are,
motion to pay those claims as presented.
Gordon makes the motion.
I'll second.
Pat's in the seconding mood today. And Kenny is going to abstain because he's got interest in these. All right, any other discussion on these? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those abstaining? 1 abstention. And 1 more batch.
Chronicle Tribune, $15.84 on the Milner Moon tile, $27,497 in the fund.
And again, that was our advertisement for that vacation, is that correct?
Right.
The findings and order.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Cates. Second, Mr. Cox. Discussion?
When will that, can we pay off that money to the landowners that put it in? What point we do?
It's up to the board, I mean, I can start with what we have in the spring collection, and then do it again in the fall.
But I think we waited till fall, didn't we? And then we're gonna disperse it,
Well,
Yeah, we get the
plan.
total collection. and
because we couldn't
all
stop
that.
it in time.
Yeah.
It'll be zeroed out and everything will be started.
That'll be about the first year.
Okay. Well, somebody will probably ask me when they're going to get their money.
Tell them January.
Tell them I'll let you know first.
Yeah, that'll be about when.
Okay.
All right, we've got, Gordon's gonna be in the abstention category. And we got a motion, did we?
Yep.
Motion is second.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and abstaining?
Aye.
1 abstention. I think we have paid our bills. We continue to carry Little Crane Pond. That has to do with the vacation, and we've been fighting other things. Our attorneys still need to come to an understanding. Mr. Connor's still acting on behalf of the utilities. I'll see if he and Mr. Persinger can get that up and running now.
I got one more, Mark.
Under old business or a bill?
I don't see it.
Okay. Guess we have one more bill to,
Yeah, Mary had one more in her pile. On the Monroe ditch, it's a partial payment for work completed. The total was gonna be $56,614. We're paying $28,000 out on the Monroe ditch of Luger Creek.
That's from State Road 5 over to 1,000. Excuse me.
and what do we have in the account right now?
185.
185.
Mary, look real quick. We have enough money.
Is that on the Monroe ditch, the same one that Matt Taylor's talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, we got that coming up for a discussion here in a minute.
This is the part to turn the bill in for. This is the new party's request one. The part they've done and they're getting paid for, and then this is the new part they're requesting.
But this request is all for Luger Creek, so.
No, it's for all of it. This, they put it all at the same time, was from here to here, then they split it in half.
183,000.
This is the.
Okay. It's the 56,000,
I'm
they're
sorry.
turning in the 28 partial portions.
So the whole thing's 56.
No, I move we pay that claim.
Motion from Mr. Cox to pay the claim as presented.
Second.
The second, Mr. Goff. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried unanimously. Now we've paid all our bills, right?
Right.
Sorry.
Not a problem. All right, I think I will just report under old business. We took it off the list, but I want the council or the drainage board to know that I received a communication from an attorney, Mr. Ott, asking to meet with me, reference some of the items that are going on with regard to the parcel changes, and I declined respectively. Everything seems to be in order, and they know that the bill still is due, so that's the way I've left it right now.
And you know, the email from the attorney said, Mr. Todd put a lien on the property. We had a public hearing and it was the drainage board. I just want to make a matter of the minutes that I haven't put a lien. We had a ditch assessment and a public hearing for what was cost. And we got it on the parent track that it went to court on. We didn't put it on the new parcel, that just parceled out the strip of the creek.
So that's where we stand on that. As of right now, we're still taking it that everything is in order and we're expecting payment, so.
How long does he have to pay it?
I think it's just come out on his property tax.
Doesn't he have to miss 3 payments?
It would be 3 payments before it went into
But if you paid like $50 each time, it could drag out.
he could.
5 years.
We didn't really want to put that on the record, but.
I thought it was 5 years.
knows that.
You don't have to, you don't have to pay him.
Should I start looking for a job now?
Yeah.
You know, somebody give his attorney wrong information. That's what bothers me about this.
And we have tried to make that right in the last 24 hours, so.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to new business. And regarding Monroe Ditch, Matt Taylor has a maintenance request.
And this is to finish up, this work would be done on the Walls Junior Farm, the Taylor Farm, and the Lawhorn Farm. And they've got a request here to have in-year construction continue from 1,000 east on around to State Road 18 through these 3 properties and it'd be a total, this is a brushing and dredging and leveling the spoil of $34,803 is the request today. And then, is Mr. Taylor here? Okay, there you are.
How much again? 34.
$34,803. He's got it broke down on each individual's property, or what it'll be.
And the footage is on the top of that map I gave you. Up there.
Okay, I see it.
This was done as a reconstruction about 81. The last county surveyor was in the process of being dipped out then. Then we put it on maintenance. This is coming out of maintenance fund to redo it.
It's part of the Luger Creek?
Luger Creek and tributaries.
Okay.
How many feet is that?
It's
It's on the top of the map.
3,800, something like that.
Yeah.
Additional, 3,800 additional.
Jim, is Ender still there?
Yeah. He's still wrapping up. We're gonna owe him to wrap up the work he's done up to 1,000. Yeah, it was 1,587 feet on the Walls Farm, 793 on the Taylor Farm, and 1,437 on the Lawhorn Farm. And it's all flat right through there. It's needed it bad for years. There's no grade hardly.
Does it need it?
Oh, yeah.
No,
You'll attest to that one,
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Cakes has made a motion.
Make a motion to let Ender finish all there.
There is support for that motion. We can discuss. Any discussion on that? Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Who seconded that?
Mr. Goff? Were there any no's on that or abstentions? That is unanimous. All righty. Okay, next, or I should ask, do we have any other new business that we didn't have on the agenda? What's that?
Yeah, Mary has a question for you.
Okay.
Doug Carey turned in a petition for the Nesbit, and I'd like to propose, public hearing on August 8th.
August 8th.
It would go from $1.50 an acre to $10 an acre.
She's talked to him about the rates, and he carried a petition.
So how much is that gonna get? How big acreage you talking, you know?
Yeah, she's got it all.
746.
Yeah, 746 acres, it'll bring in $7,568 a year.
Which one's that on?
Nesbit,
Nesbit,
For a minimum?
$10. 25 for a home site,
25 per home.
Where's it at?
4-year collection.
Gordon knows exactly, it's off of Grassy Fork. It's northwest of you somewhere.
I'm just drawing a blank.
Quite a bit.
I see a lot of carries, they could probably tell me better.
Yeah. It's not too far from the county
I think
line.
it's right up in here, Kenny, it's not on this map itself, but it's right in there. And it's a narrow watershed. Has ditches on both sides of it.
Are we recommending a 4-year?
Yes, that's what he wanted.
All right.
What do we need to do?
What we need to do is we need to make a motion to have a public hearing, set it for August 8th at $10 an acre, $25 home, $10 minimum with a 4-year collection.
I move we set a public hearing at the rates he just stated.
Is that how you want me to word that?
At the rates that
I got
the
it.
secretary recommends.
All right. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Pinkerton did the second. We can discuss. Any questions, comments? Redirects on that. All right. Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. I believe that means we're unanimous. All right. I'll ask one more time. Any other new business besides our other business?
I did give I've talked to Nate Titus where the Luger Creek outlets into the river, and I've given him the okay to take out about 11 logs down in there, you know, and I'll be looking at it when he's got them out. That's all the way through his property and neighbors. I've got it up to Stone Road.
Are we anticipating a bill, or he just giving him permission to work in his?
We'll get a bill finally.
Okay.
He's given me an estimated hours, but I don't have it in front of me, but it sounded okay. I've been to that property quite a few times with him.
Right. Anything else from the board before we go to other business? All right, hearing none, we will go to other business. We have a discussion for Dry Fork Ditch. Wendell Cates is in the room.
And is it okay if I start out, Wendell, just for a few minutes? We did a reconstruction a few years after I became surveyor in '85. I don't know if it was a 5-year payback. We do have a good assessment roll that went to a public hearing. I put Cindy on updating that this morning, along with the watershed map, you know, up to 37. And then you know, as soon as we get that done, Mary will apply the rates, bring it before the board, and the board will set it for a public hearing so we could have a collection on that next year. So I've answered that petition. And then the one about legalizing the drain from 37, because it just goes like, I want to say 150 feet. Joseph Horner was the engineer. I remember seeing that in the legal records. That's why it was only cleared to that one spot on Mr. Wimmer years ago. To legalize it from 37 to Glendale Lake, you know, that's gonna be a lengthy process. I don't know what the wetlands, environmental management and Army Corps and all them would say about this. But that would put some of the subdivision to the west paying a home site rate. But, you know, nothing would be done before you had a public hearing. Everybody would have a chance to speak on behalf of that. So that's a ways down the road, and we'd have to talk to our drainage board attorney, because the petition will get us started. And then I've got to look into legalities on how you make something a county drain and what the responsibility is on the petitioners to get us to that point. And we also want the input from the subdivision association and the people that's being affected by it. And then the other thing is, there is a group of signatures here supporting immediate fund for removal of beavers from Glendale Lake. I don't know for sure. I've talked to Officer Neergardner. We probably would, you know, as long as you can prove the beavers are creating damage, you can take them out of season, you know, or get a nuisance trapper to take them out of season. So if it's backing up water and affecting crop loss, then that's justifiable, you know.
Yeah, the main thing we want to discuss today is going through the process of legalizing from 37 to Glendale Lake. I talked to the airport. The airport they don't see any problem of giving us the right of way to go through there, because majority of that is on their right of way.
Yeah, everybody was looking at the maps this morning. They have maps in front of them. Now, my question is, to make it a legal drain to the lake, is that?
Yes.
Okay, and you can see that easily on this picture here, this topographic picture. If somebody, Kenny, could you show yours to Wendell there? Clarify.
Mm-hmm. They said that as long as I would come to their board meeting July 6th, that they didn't see a reason why they wouldn't give us 75-foot easement in there. I don't know who managed, but I know the people manage them, but I don't know what they are classified, county, city, or government. I don't know what they're classified.
They fall a lot, I mean, they're an airport authority, but I believe that they fall under some city jurisdiction.
They didn't feel like it'd be an issue to give us permission. I would say right now, our biggest issue is the beavers in the open ditch before you get to Glendale. We know that Glendale has a very large beaver dam, and I talked to the homeowner association yesterday, or met with a couple of them, and you know, it's all negotiable.
Question,
Go ahead.
if it's not our drain, we can't take the beavers out, can we?
We can't ourselves.
They can, but we can't.
That'd be between them.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's all, the Board of Aviation Commissioners, and, looks like Patterson to the west of that just a little bit, or is that?
Fluent Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're including that in Dry Fork when we do the
Extension.
yeah. So But no, the main part is, I put a call into IDEM yesterday to get permission to see what we could do with the beavers in the open ditch and what we could do with the beavers in the Glendale and on that recording, it said, we will have IDEM or Army Corps call you back according to your message. So I haven't heard back from either one.
Then I'd be willing to meet just to listen when you get a meeting set up with them. You know, and this, I'm just throwing this out there because I'm not pushing nothing. But the subdivision association, that concrete dam, if it was to come out, let Mother Nature restore a channel through there and dry up, it's only a wetlands because the dam busted, you know. But one way to, right now, it's a mosquito hazard, you know.
Well, when I met with them yesterday, I think all this is negotiable after we meet with Army Corps or IDEM. And I think at the time of meeting with IDEM or Army Corps, we need to meet with the Home Association at the same time and decide what is negotiable with them and what Army Corps would let us do.
Right. And even if you take the dam out, let it all drain out, and Mother Nature would restore a channel through there, it would be a lot cheaper. You could the creek could come in, you could dig a pond below ground level, so there's no dam involved, but you have a nice pond, and then have that stream come out of that, and to go maybe to another acre pond, so it would look nice and attractive, and then the stream would continue, and there would be no expense of trying to put a dam back as much as it would cost, because I met Mr. Poling, I think his name was, there years ago, and an engineer's estimate to get through the DNR, put a dam back, dredge the pond was $100,000 at that time. He lived on the point. Am I getting his name right?
Yeah, he doesn't live there now.
Yeah, he's gone.
Right.
I met him at his house with an engineer out of Indianapolis.
But that's basically what us farmers would like to have. We discussed it yesterday, I'm really not sure the dam in Glendale is high enough to hurt the farmers as much as it is the beaver dam in the creek getting to Glendale at the present time.
Right. Yeah, I don't think, at that elevation of the dam with water running over and the dam full, water never backed up into 37. Now, if there's tiles coming off the airport somewhere, I'm sure it got in them. But, you know, water never backed up. The spillway worked, water never backed up and got into tile there at Mr. Wimmer's where it crossed 37.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And that's about the elevation you'd have to shoot for if you put a new dam back.
Yeah, but right now, I'm assuming, can you guys give us authority to hire somebody to take the beavers out of the creek and not mess with the Glendale this time, or who has to give us authority for that?
Yeah, the drainage board, in our
It's not
easement.
ours, is it? It's not our easement.
No, I'm
It's
talking-
not our easement.
I'm talking about the dry fork ditch.
Well, see, I wanted you to take responsibility.
You talking about east of 37?
Yes, yes.
I don't think the board has that authority.
But, okay, is there a problem with us doing it, or we gotta get permission from IDEM to do it?
I think if you do anything in that, what they've called the wetlands now, you better talk to them.
If the airport's giving you authority to act on their behalf and take out the beaver on their property, you just clear it with IDEM and go from there.
Yeah.
After get permission.
But you
from
gotta
the
get
airport.
permission to take it out of the season.
Yeah,
Gotta show it.
but if Wendell can call IDEM and has the authority from the airport to act on their behalf, he can negotiate with.
And I don't have to be at that meeting if you don't want me to.
No, I'm telling you, you're more than welcome.
I just
I
be
don't turn down
listening.
anybody when you're talking.
I don't be listening. But I did meet, when Dick Bragg made the mistake of taking out that dipping that northern pond, the dam had just busted, it all drained, the beavers wasn't living there then. So he thought he'd put that extra dirt over in the edge, and that's when Army Corps girl and an engineer and IDM was there. And he had to wait, as soon as that dried, he had to get that out of there. That's why I know that they called it wetlands at that time.
Do you think, Mary gave me that number to IDEM yesterday. I have a number to Army Corps. Should I call them?
It wouldn't hurt.
I really don't like talking to them people.
It's both.
Well, IDM, they're gonna notify them for the meeting. One of those ladies is probably gonna call whoever she works with, and they'll be showing up.
Is both of them in Indianapolis?
I think so.
Yeah. Last time I met with them, they both came out of Indianapolis.
So where's the money gonna come from to pay the beaver guy?
They, right now, the farmers sitting out here all signed an agreement yesterday that they would help pay
Here it is.
the, funds until we had funds in the, cause I assume if we go with the beavers, we gotta have instant money. And so we don't know what we're getting into. We just know we need the water to move it.
And I did talk to Mr. Nair Gardner, conservation officer. He said, as long as you're having crop damage or the beavers have backed up water over your tiles, I think you'll be good then, there. But he also mentioned you had to go through these other agencies on anything to do with that.
No, I'll meet with IDEM and Army Corps if you got time to meet with us, and if any of you folks have time to meet with us, we'd be glad to.
But, you know, the part about putting the dam back is, you know, that's a small dam if it was built right, but it only takes, you know, being a small, you know, energetic muskrat or anything can undermine that. You know, I've seen snapper turtles out there, they dig burrows. So, you know, we don't know, you know, probably the beavers dug a den back into the corner, but they're coming up the rivers now, and you put a new dam back, and who's to say one don't compromise it right off?
Do you think we can have a hearing on the rest of it before we get that legalized? Correct?
Yes, the other petition to put a maintenance on
Yeah,
it is gonna happen fairly quick.
okay. So it could happen before our harvest,
But, yeah.
the hearing.
Mhm. Soon as Cindy gets done putting the new assessment together, and Raymond will help her on that, then we'll give it to Mary. She'll apply the rates to the watershed, bring it before the board, and the board will set a hearing date when Mary's ready to send out notices.
Okay. Yep.
Just remind me again, is that from the east side of 37 to what would be the opening into Glendale Lake?
No, this would only be the west of 37. This public hearing would only deal
West
with the
of
west of 37.
Is this on both of them? Is this on the 3,000 acres and the 1,000 acres?
It's on the 4,000 total. That's gonna include South Prong and Dry Fork and the White's Branch.
So both of them have the same ditch assessment then?
Yeah, everybody in the whole watershed.
Because if I understood you right yesterday, that South Fork has a tile ditch on with that open ditch.
With the open ditch.
And we want to separate the open ditch from that tile.
Do you? I don't know.
Well, I don't want to,
Generally, that's an.
I don't want to buy their tile.
No, you won't.
Yeah,
They're gonna have an individual assessment on South Prong. They're gonna pay into that. And as their water goes downstream, they're gonna pay into Dry Fork.
okay.
So they're gonna be double taxed. That's how I am on Taylor Creek. My water goes 2 miles
That's what-
downstream and I pay on Big Pipe Creek also.
Yes. I mean, that's
So
fair.
you're still gonna have your own tile money, your own, because I'm almost positive, I'd have to look, but I'm almost positive that, when that was set up years ago, it included the south prong, the tile, and the open channel.
The open only became open because of tile breaking down years ago.
Okay,
And Mr. Spencer that has that corner property, who's now his heirs have it, he requested just allowing the tile to stay broken because he didn't have a maintenance fund to repair and he was
Okay.
older. So each time the tile broke down, he pulled it out. Now it's open from where we have tile to 35 on the south side. It should have still been closed up all the way to the culvert. But he kept, over the years, pulling tile out, and now it's an open ditch.
but I think, I just talked to the lady, excuse me, I just talked to the lady north of the highway, and, I'm gonna have Mitch Cook show up, cause, she has, a lot of corn stubble in the ditch there, and she's worried. I don't know why, how we can pull, you know, there's that grass strip, but we don't want to damage crops. I don't know how much she could do there, but,
You can do whatever you need to.
Mitch Cook was gonna look at it.
So we're gonna put our assessment rolls together before we come up with a date, or,
Yeah, oh yeah.
all right.
And then, do you
Just a
mind
real
if
quick-
the home association has something to say from?
We wanna hear from him.
I'll let Tom get 5 minutes.
And you're generous with him.
He was more than a neighbor. My name is Tom Sloan, the president of Glendale Lake, and I've lived, my wife and I, for 30 years there. So we've seen a lot from when there was a dam and a very usable area. And you are right on track with everything that you were saying as far as the muskrats and that sort of thing, and that's why we lost the dam. To replace the dam now, then this was like five plus years ago, was over $250,000. The 54 owners are not interested at this point in subsidizing $250,000 to build the dam. Plus, I don't think that that is the best thing to do, especially with what you were saying. What we are really concerned about, and it's been going on ever since the dam broke, was the drainage. And they have declared it a wetland, but when we met with 4 or 5 agencies that told us essentially this is your property, but we possess it, is that they didn't care if the spillway, in fact, there are some people that give major money, we just haven't seen any of it, because dams are horrible for our country, evidently, and they want to get rid of as many dams as possible. And so getting rid of that spillway, they had no issues with getting rid of it. And so we would like to see that come out of there, so that way the creek, as you said, could flow to its natural state.
It would restore whatever the lowest is. Mother Nature would put that back in a meandering, and then even if you wanted a small pond, if, like I
Yes.
said, if you dug it, let it come in.
And we looked at that.
And then go back out. You could have a gazebo down there. You could pay to mow a certain area and have a little park. And I think that's the way to go. If I lived there, that's what I'd want.
We had a grant for $40-some thousand, but, and it was to turn it into a prairie land with some of those concepts. But the problem is, when you got that cement spillway, the fluctuation of water can be 3, 4, with the flood that we just had, everybody was loving all the water was going over. In actuality, there is a beaver dam at the spillway.
Right.
But it has been, they got evicted. Actually, they lost their food source. Okay, and so they moved up to the secondary, which is a 300-foot
I stopped and looked at it.
dam.
Yeah.
And then they're populating. You definitely want to get rid of our beavers, because our beavers have been there for many years, and they're reproducing so that they move up to the farmers, because they can only take care of so many family members, and then they want to go up and move more and build more dams. So we're very open to this and very interested in it, because we're the entrance to Marion, Indiana, and when people drive by that, I get comments all the time of, what's going on there. So if we can work together, we would be very happy to see something.
You think there is funding to take the concrete out?
What's that?
You think there is some funding to take that concrete out?
Not really, not that we've ever found, and we've had people look at it. There is a bowl where they took out all the dirt to build the dam, that if cement could go back into that bowl, or go in that bowl area and just be covered up with dirt. But even if we'd love to see the whole spillway gone, but I realize that's major. But if there was even a 10-foot wide, enough for it to drain, because right now it just hits that cement and then just backs up. And so if we could work together to get rid of enough of the spillway so that the creek could drain properly.
Would that be something your group would take on, removing that dam with the proper permissions and stuff?
Well,
If you didn't have to haul it off, it wouldn't be that.
You wouldn't have to haul it off.
If you could bury it somewhere, it would be safe to bury right there and be out of the way.
It's a big bowl.
Do away with trucking.
Right.
The other thing too is that I have Mary Beth Dewey, and she is a resident, and she's here representing the drainage issues. She is a new homeowner, and she spent a substantial amount of money for her home, and every time there's a major rain, she has no use of her toilets. And
one or two of the three. We have three total.
Okay.
We lose one or two.
And I suspect, and years ago I had an engineer out there, George Camacho, and we found that line on the far western Scott Drive, and I knew about the one that runs up into the middle.
And then she's in the middle.
Okay, and at that time, I talked to some people. Anywhere you know that tile is, if there's a tree, some people need to cut those trees down, because there's gonna be tree roots.
And you're home, what, 42? She's 42 on that plot area.
There is some outfits that have a power pressure auger, but they gotta dig the test hole and cut the roots out, but they come right back unless some trees would come down in this, wherever you determine that the tile is, you gotta sacrifice the tree.
And you would have a knowledge of this, is 6 years ago, up Scott Road, the county must have, they dug up and did some of what you're talking about, cleaning out, replaced areas that was collapsed.
At one time, there was a large pine tree that was right over the tile.
Mm-hmm.
Them pine trees are gone now.
Well, this went like 100 and some feet.
Okay.
Didn't the highway department go in there and dig on the side ditch out in there?
Okay.
The highway department has apparently accepted some responsibility in there to keep the drainage going right.
See, she would like to know, because she's willing to spearhead this, because, I mean, there's no way, she's a very conscientious person. She can't sell her house, because if she told the people what was going on, and she's not she just moved there, but she wants to be conscientious about the neighbors who are dealing with the same issues. So how would what would be your recommendation?
Cindy went to the recorder's office and pulled the recorded plat. It shows none of these drains on it, and I was hoping it would enlighten us.
So you're in drainage.
There's more than you.
The neighborhood as a whole has poor drainage.
Our spot is particularly low, and I don't think the existing tile is working anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So we just have a pond, so it's us, and then the neighbors I know on both sides of us also lose the use of the toilets at the back of the house.
And the
But
septic,
only when it's wet.
because the septic
It's,
systems,
otherwise we're fine, but when we get, it's mostly in the winter too. The summer rains are not as big of a deal, but in the winter, when the ground is already wet, we
So it wouldn't be triggered.
have major.
the water is setting on top of their septic system. Like inches.
Yeah, the private tile that were put in there to help drain, I question how old they are, because there was one behind me just to the west that went through a couple of yards and then dumped into the lake. And I just wonder if you don't have some blockage or collapsing of the old.
Yeah, as the root gets in there and grows, it breaks down. It's probably clay tile.
You could get Eric Bragg out there to go run a camera through there, if it's a small tile. And then he could go in and auger it out.
Right.
If they do that, they want someplace they can put copper sulfate in about once, twice a year to keep killing those roots. If you don't, in a year, they'll be back.
So the responsibility of those drains, because you've seen where it's at, it's a subdivision, is that, now the county took care of that other one. I mean, they took care, we never paid anything. So what is the responsibility, who can we start the process with? Because it is the whole subdivision, it's not.
You know, I know the North Road, the Glendale Drive Road, water sits along the road to the north of there. Those yards set wet, and you're south of that, right?
Yeah.
And water sits
Now
there.
Lakeview, with all the drainage they put in, that helped, because it used to be, that field would flood and then just run down our street. And fill up houses of water.
What street are you on?
I'm on the corner of Glendale and Scott on the creek side. I don't have any issues, I'm on a hill.
Okay, yeah,
I'm a
well,
full
the
basement.
farmers retiled that field to the north. It was trying to come in there, I think, and they retiled all that around, so that's what's helped.
Oh, that helped greatly, because
Jim,
hundreds of thousands
Where
of
she
gallons.
lives, there's 3 roads higher than her, and so any rain that comes in, is the runoff of them 3 roads run directly to her leaching field.
Okay.
And so my opinion of what I've seen, when them 3 roads unload surface water into her backyard, then her perimeter drain can't keep up and then fills her leaching field up. Her leaching field is a holding tank for the water coming off the 3 roads.
Where would that tile go? Out into the lake?
It's gotta go, yeah, it's gotta go, south underneath the road and,
About where it curves, right?
Mhm.
yes,
Where it
yes,
curves.
yeah. It was, her tile would still dump in the creek, not in the pond.
Yeah, like I say, it's 42 on the plot.
Yeah. But yeah, somebody's worked on it recently, cause there's a cut in the road.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't go far enough north with what they was working on.
And if the road's helping cause part of the problem, maybe the highway superintendent could look at it and think of a plan, but the subdivision association's funds, if you got somebody like Eric Bragg that would dig a test hole, run a root cutter, or run the camera like Kenny said, that'd be the thing to do, to find the root balls. But there needs to be some exploratory surgery done, you know, for a start.
Okay.
His question is where the money come from?
Yeah, our fees a year are $92 or something like that. And, yeah, just to mow is the biggest part of that fund, plus the lighting and all the other insurance and things like that.
They have to increase your fees.
Yeah, we can only do that 10% a year unless we go to the total association, and then you have to have what, 60% or whatever. Well, you know how that works with people.
And then, you know, if
Magical fund in the county.
and that's
Especially if
the
it doesn't
problem,
affect
if it
them
got
anyway.
made, if it was to be made a legal drain up to the lake, we'll see, maybe 20 lots would come in there into the county drain, and then, you know, home site or, large watersheds are 10, $25 is an average. I pay $50 a home site on Taylor Creek. But that's gonna make maybe a quarter of the subdivision paying an additional ditch tax. Now, they'd be at a hearing, and then the neighbor right to the east is not gonna be on it, cause they're right out of what outlets into the open ditch. So that'll cause,
Anybody on Lakeview Drive,
that'll cause some
I
problems.
mean, Glendale Drive won't be assessed.
Right, it'll only be this part right in here,
Yeah.
from here on.
What home,
Tiles come down
what home
here.
does that start with?
Hmm?
So I can get an idea on that, and she can, what home would that start on?
You know, I haven't looked at it enough.
He's got the map right there, I mean, that survey, and that's a brand new survey that the airport just paid for. 42 is her lot.
In there. Yeah. What's the last name again, Tom?
Dewey,
Dewey?
D-E-W-E-Y.
That's a good map, but it really don't show the ditch. You can have this one.
Oh, okay.
You see,
Yeah, she did. Right there.
our easement stops about right here, so if it was made an easement drain about the lake right here, whoever's coming in is a tile. You know, that tile runs down
Oh, yeah,
here,
see, now there's a tile that runs all along here and straight.
up here, and then down here. So these people would be benefiting from sitting out there. That would be a tough challenge, man, to figure out the watershed.
Convenient answer.
The only thing that's true, somebody, that'd be part of my job.
It's her problem.
Even though her neighbor is causing it.
But she has all these people, but you're saying.
And they already have a fence, so they are. It's tile, the tile that crosses right here.
I've had at least half a dozen
Right,
phone
right here,
calls.
only right here.
So is there any way we can get those people like this, so that everything is drained? Then that way everybody would back up.
Maybe she could
You both fight against it.
If it's made an open ditch to the highway,
See, that's what we
then everybody would pay the $25 a year, and we'd maintain the whole thing. And everybody, this watershed runs, here's where your watershed ends, sir. Sir,
Hey, Tom.
Yep.
here's where your watershed ends. Water's coming from right here, just south of State Road, and that's 400 West.
Well, we really appreciate having you. This is the first time that we've been able to really have open discussion with you. And the farmers upstream definitely are appreciated too. So,
And they was putting houses in.
any other questions?
Last 55.
Jim, you guys.
Once you guys have a discussion, don't hesitate to get us information back. You know, the county is going to be doing an overall, average median income type of thing that might set us up for future Okra grants. I don't know if we could get this subdivision to apply for an Okra grant to help you with that drainage or not, but.
Okay, you were talking if we have discussion. So what discussion do we need to have that, I realize the farmers, they're involved, we're involved, and so.
My recommendation, and it's not gonna be nice to hear, but I would bring the association together and say, if we wanna draw water off of our subdivision, we're going to have to raise our association rates in order, because all your drainage there is private.
Well, what he just said, it wouldn't be private if we can get an open drain completely to
Down to the
then.
south of you guys.
Yeah, then.
Clear to 9, that way everybody
Yeah.
would be on the
So
assessment.
that way, it's not a choice. We all,
Let
even
the-
though I live on
Let
a
the jail
hill,
restore itself.
even though I live on a hill and all the water goes downhill, I'm willing to pay $25.
No, they're still,
Their yards are still gonna be wet. They've got tile that's gotta drain it somewhere.
Cause I have a drain going through my property.
Just because your property gets put on the assessment roll doesn't mean it'll get worked on.
Well,
not the private tile.
See, I have the tile that runs a full length of Scott, which is what the county or whoever did it,
But
and it
the,
runs under my driveway.
but the assessment wouldn't work on that. The assessment only works on the main trunk of the ditch. It doesn't work on the side tile.
Oh,
Yeah, it would only work on the new stream going through to provide an outlet for that.
but would it help them that
No.
has direct?
Not a tile to it.
No.
Well,
The
so what-
trees
how
that
does
are
it help?
identified over the tile is the number one thing. Anywhere that the tile is close to a tree, that tree needs cut down and then investigated. If county highway department's got water issues along the road, maybe they could take on the responsibility of instead of the road water flooding the lots,
Yeah.
put catch basins in.
So if you would charge us $25, what do we get for that?
How much is $25?
Surface water that is moving has to go somewhere, it goes into that ditch and eventually, so you're helping to pay it to keep it
It would-
flowing.
Yeah, it would make improvements
And
75
we're not having
feet from
any
the
issues
top.
with that at all right now.
But the private tile are those, I wanna say there are probably 3 prongs through the addition that go through people's yards that dump into the current Glendale Lake. If we.
That's what the subdivision association fee would be for.
Yeah, you're still gonna have to have pipes, ditch,
See, and the
tile.
way we've always
Get it
looked
to
at it, it's, those are individual, drains from those homes. And so we've always said, hey, get together with your neighbors and make it happen.
Right,
Because,
and that's the way to do
That's
it.
the way she's gonna have to solve her.
The Indiana Drainage Code calls that a mutual tile, and it's everybody's responsibility to take care of their part on their property.
Not to be
So if there's
bad.
five landowners involved, they need to pool their money together and get an estimate from Bragg's Excavating to investigate it. Chuck's, Dave's Excavating, Sullivan's,
well, thank you.
get quotes.
Thank you for this other whole issue besides our beavers.
Talk to these guys.
What she needs to do is if she can get some neighbors to go with her or whatever,
Send it to the validation.
Yeah.
Brad, Derek come out there, look at it, dig a hole, and run his camera through it, and he'll have water so he can put pressure on it, okay?
All right.
I don't know,
I think we're in
he can
motion.
kinda
on
give
Drive
you
Forward.
an idea of what it's gonna cost.
And hopefully, with some discussion, maybe we're gonna open up, the rest of that east of, 37 all the way to 9. If we do that, I think that helps everybody else. Maybe a little bit costly in some ways, but that's the nature of the beast too. All right, any other business?
Earlier, Jim talked about getting Mitch Cook in, the lady north of State Road 22 and 35, to keep costs down. He can, whatever he dips out, he can put over on our property and we'll handle that. There's no reason. That's true. But if they truck it out, they're gonna have to go through our crop. And we are.
Right around the edge of the guardrail. We were looking at that on the aerial photo, and
Yeah,
I didn't have it.
you know, if he's taking.
That'd help a lot.
Yeah, if he's taking it off, you know, from the highway, they've got to put it in a truck. But if he puts it over on, that property being under H&H Davison.
In that grass strip?
Yes, we can handle that, because we've got some to work on there after harvest anyway. We dipped out what we could get to, but we did not get on their property.
Yeah.
So we were using a backhoe and not really doing.
I talked to her and I talked to him yesterday. He's gonna go look at it, see what he can do, so I'll call him back and tell him what.
And in all honesty, I mean, I know that it doesn't look that good. The next 2-inch rain that we get in 2 hours will push it all right down the stream.
Right.
I mean, it just will, it's gonna flush it right out. All the stalks are gone. We pick them up.
Beavers will be using it to clean it up.
Yes. And we've had their dens.
All right, any other business? Mr. Gates made a motion to adjourn, Mr. Pinkerton seconded. All those in favor, said aye. Aye. Aye, it is carried. Thank you.
Question, did you get your paperwork turned in for your FEMA money?
Cause it's on the news today, tomorrow's the deadline.
Tomorrow's the deadline, and we didn't qualify.
Of course.
Other folks did, but Green County didn't qualify. So